Hello, and welcome back to another video on this channel. Today we are going to be answering the question, how would I judge RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star Season 11? Without further ado, let's jump right into it. So in the orange bracket we have Akira C. Davenport, Dawn Lucky Stars, Morgan McMichaels, Morphine Love Dion, and Mystique Summers. The queens had to write and perform a verse to break dance into Electric Rigolo. I might be in minority, but I actually really enjoyed this song. Dawn, Morgan, and Morphine were the clear standouts, and I don't think Dawn and Morgan as the top two of the episode was rigged. However, in my opinion, Morphine deserved that top two slot over Morgan.
It comes down to personal taste.
I enjoyed her verse and runway look more than Morgan's, so this time she will be lip-syncing against Dawn. No shade, but Dawn would have trouble winning even if she was up against Charlie Hides here. She did fine in her other lip syncs, but that one was pretty bad. She looked gorgeous though. Morphine wins the lip sync, so now she has 3 points and Dawn has 2. In the first MVQ ceremony, I'm pretty sure Mystique and Lucky would still swap, and since Morgan didn't win this episode in this scenario, she would for sure swap with Akira. Now it's time for the design challenge, in which I didn't change anything. I agree with all the placements. It was Lucky's best episode. I prefer this look even more than her talent show on season 17, so she's still high, with Dawn and Akira as the top two. Those two truly demolished this challenge, as expected. They're great seamstresses, I'm not surprised. Akira ended up winning the lip sync, which I completely agree with, so now she's tied for first place with Dawn with 4 points. Not for long though, because I do not see any changes in the MVQ ceremony. Morphine and Lucky swap points, and I still think Morgan and Mystique both give it to Akira, which means now she's in the lead with 6 points. Dawn has 4, Morphine has 3, Lucky has 2, and Mystique and Morgan have 1. The last challenge of this bracket was the Advert Challenge, and this is probably going to be one of the most interesting episodes in this case. This was Morgan's best episode on Drag Race, period.
She ate, she chewed, she swallowed.
She was hands down the funniest in the challenge, and deserved that top 2 spot 100%. However, I don't think Dawn deserved to be in the top 2 this episode. She did do a really good job, but so did Akira, and I think she was stronger than Dawn. Plus, I think this challenge should be judged in pairs, and Morgan and Akira were definitely the best duo. I also want to give some flowers to Mystique. Their advert with Lucky was kinda chaotic, but Mystique in my opinion was kinda carrying it. So in this scenario Morgan is lip-syncing against Akira, and this would be very interesting. Akira is now locked in the semis, because even if she loses the lip sync, 8 points is gonna be enough to advance. I think Morgan would be like, I'll give you that $10,000, just let me win the lip sync so I can have 1 more point. And I think Akira would definitely throw the lip sync because she was very close with Morgan as we saw. That means Morgan wins, and that takes her to 4 points. Lucky would most definitely still give her point to Morgan, which means Morgan now has 5. I do think that Dawn and Morphine would make a deal and swap, which means now Dawn has 5 points, and Morphine has 4. Mystique's point would be the deciding factor, and she's not going to give it to Akira this time, because she's already advancing. Storyline-wise, I think it would be more satisfying if she gave it to Morgan, but she had a chance to push her through to the semi-finals and she did not do it, and I don't think she would do it here. I might be wrong, but I think she would give her point to Dawn. That means Akira C. Davenport and Dawn are our first 2 semi-finalists, and Morgan, Morphine, Lucky, and Mystique are sadly eliminated. But don't forget, there's still a wild card lottery. Now, let's move on to episode 4, the first episode of the pink bracket. Let's welcome to the stage April Carry-On, Aura Mayari, Crystal Method, Selena Estides, Silky Nutmeg Ganache, and Vivacious. Their first challenge was girl groups, and they were split into 3 pairs. The episode was originally judged in pairs, which I did not change, since I think that's how it should have been judged. All of them did good, but I agree with Crystal and Aura being in the top 2, since they were the strongest duo in my opinion. It's kinda sad because Selena demolished this challenge and would for sure be in the top 2 if it was judged individually. Crystal won the lip sync originally, and I agree with that, which gives her 1 extra point. It was close though, and if Aura won over Crystal, I would not call it rigged. Crystal now has 3 points, Aura has 2, and everyone is going to give a point to their partner, so nothing changes, and we can move on to the next episode, the Advert Challenge. I would say everyone besides April and Vivacious did at least fine in the challenge. April's runway look was one of, if not the best look of the entire season, and Vivacious got screwed by the designer, and we were robbed of seeing a great look because the design looked impressive. Many people think Selena should have been in the top 2 this episode, but I personally wouldn't change the top 2 of Silky and Crystal. Little Silky was such a great idea, and Crystal did something unexpected, and it worked really well. Again, if Selena was in the top 2 over one of them, I wouldn't call it rigged, but I agree with the original top 2 from this episode. Silky won the lip sync, which I also agree with, so now Crystal is in the lead with 5 points, Silky is right behind her with 4, Aura has 2, and April, Selena, and Vivacious have 1. Since we had the same top 2, the MBQ ceremony is going to look the same. Aura swaps with Vivacious, and Selena swaps with April. The last episode of the Purple Bracket was the Makeover Challenge, and I also don't see any riggery here. I believe Aura was technically high this episode, and I don't agree with that because I think April had the 3rd best makeover, so she's going to place high with Vivacious and Selena as the top 2. I'm happy Selena finally got the win, since she absolutely could have won all 3 challenges. The things just didn't work in her favor. But the way Vivacious killed this episode.
I was not expecting that.
I don't think the makeup looked bad because I know some people said that. I think the makeup looks fine, but the looks are just amazing. Again, with the same top 2, I don't see any changes in the MVQ ceremony. Silky tricked Aura and Crystal and gave her point to April, and April gave it to Crystal, which means Crystal Method and Silky Nutmeg Ganache are advancing to the semi-finals with 6 points each. April, Aura, Selena, and Vivacious are sadly eliminated, but there's still a chance for someone to come back. But now it's time for the Purple Bracket to battle it out, so let's welcome to the stage Hershey Liquor Jete, Jasmine Kennedy, Joey J, Kennedy Davenport, Sam Starr, and Sugar Cane. So the design challenge was pretty weak unfortunately, and Sam and Jasmine were the only possible top 2. Both of them did a good job, and I don't think putting anyone in the top over Jasmine would be justifiable. Joey J being the breakout star of this episode, and of the whole season was something I wasn't expecting, but I was really pleased to see it. I'm glad we finally got some gay representation on All Stars. The lip sync between Jasmine and Sam was pretty close, and I would agree with any of them winning. I did keep Sam as the winner, which means she has 3 points, Jasmine has 2, and the rest of the queens have 1. Now it's time for one of my favorite challenges from Drag Race ever, the Rapping Roast. So here we have a different top 2 than it was originally. I don't think Hershey being in the top was necessarily rigged. She did do a really good job, but Joey J was my absolute favorite of the night, and I decided to put her in the top 2 with Miss Kennedy Davenport. But once again this challenge did not disappoint, and all queens did a really good job. I would agree with any of them being in the top 2, besides Sam Starr, who had the least good performance, but she had my favorite runway look of the week. Kennedy won the lip sync originally, and I don't think Joey would be able to beat her to this song, which means Kennedy gets 1 extra point, and is now in the lead with 4 points. Joey and Sam have 3, Jasmine has 2, and Suga and Hershey have 1. Sam still gives her point to Suga, and she does the dumbest thing possible and returns it. I was so mad when she did that, but at least she admitted she fucked up. Jasmine in this scenario most likely gives it to Hershey, and I'm not 100% sure if Hershey gives it back, but I think she would, so now Kennedy and Sam have 4, Joey and Jasmine have 3, and Suga and Hershey have 2. The last challenge of the Purple Bracket, the interview lip-syncing, was an interesting concept, but I don't know if I like it or not. One thing for sure, Kennedy is still in the top 2, since she absolutely killed it and was unhinged in the best way possible. When they called Sam as the second queen in the top two, I was so surprised. I completely disagree. She was like fourth or fifth in my opinion, and had the worst runway look of the week. The second top two for me was a toss-up between Jasmine and Joey, and at the end I chose Jasmine because I used the runway as a tiebreaker. Jasmine and Kennedy are both lip-sync assassins, and that would be very close, but I decided to still give the win to Kennedy. I'm sure Jasmine would put up a good fight, but Kennedy did great, so I kept her as the winner. And this is going to be yet another episode full of strategizing. Kennedy is advancing since she already has 7 points, but the second spot is still up for grabs. Jasmine is currently in second, but Joey and Sam are still in the running, so it's basically up to Suga and Hershey. I think Sam would give her point to Suga again, and Joey would probably do the same thing. In my opinion, the queens didn't really want to see Sam advance to the semis, and I think Hershey and Suga would give their points to Joey J, which means we have a tie for the second place. I know y'all are going to be mad, but the tie will not be broken. I don't think it's fair to cut someone who had the same amount of points as the other person who advances. You can also say, oh, but the lip sync between Akira and Kennedy should have been a double shantay and not this. The thing is, here this lip sync did not happen yet, and I can't really take into consideration something that happened in merge, because here the merge is still in the future. That means Kennedy Davenport, Jasmine Kennedy and Joey J are advancing to the semifinals, and Sam, Suga, and Hershey are eliminated. My 3 wildcard picks are going to be Morgan McMichaels, Selena Estides, and Sam Starr. Let's find out who won the wildcard lottery. It's Morgan McMichaels. That means the top 8 semifinalists are Akira C. Davenport, Dawn, Crystal Method, Silky Nutmeg Ganache, Jasmine Kennedy, Joey J, Kennedy Davenport, and Morgan McMichaels. The Rate a Queen twist kind of worked, and I decided to leave that in. Crystal Method won the storytelling challenge, and I don't think that one was questionable. It was absolutely justifiable, and I see why she won, but I'm one of those people who would give the win to Joey. It was very close between those two, but Joey just had more high highs, so I gave it to her at the end. This time the winner also will be taking part in Rate a Queen because I don't see why would they not, it was kind of strange. I think Morgan would do a really good job in this challenge. I don't think she would win, but she would probably be in the top half. This is how I think the Rate a Queen results would look like. Crystal and Morgan in the top, Jasmine and Silky safe, Dawn low, and Akira and Kennedy in the bottom 2. I think Morgan would most likely put Akira first, but I don't see her escaping the bottom 2, especially because originally she was ranked last, even under Kennedy. And Kennedy won't escape it too, since she was clearly the weakest in the challenge, and even if Morgan tries to rank her higher, Joey is not ranking her first because she won and is safe from lip-syncing. The lip-sync between the Davenports was legendary, both of them 8, and it could have gone either way. I agree with Akira's win, which means Kennedy Davenport still goes home, and it is time for the talent show. Crystal did not deserve to win it, but they were just too scared not to give her the win, because there was a possibility of her landing in the bottom 2. But I don't think that would have happened in this scenario, since she didn't get favored. Joey would most likely rank her high, and I don't think she would be on anyone's radar. I know Jasmine got the highest ranking this episode, but in my opinion Dawn should have on the talent show. I preferred her performance slightly more, and even if the runway is a tiebreaker, Dawn wins it. Morgan originally was not there. I don't know how well would she do, but I think she would have to really kill it not to be in the bottom. She was very close with Akira, but more queens were on Silky's side. Because I think Morgan and Silky would do similarly good, I think they would put Morgan in the bottom with Akira. It was sad to see Akira in the bottom both episodes, but in the talent show it was definitely fair. I wouldn't put her in the bottom 2 one episode earlier though. But anyway, Akira and Morgan lip sync, and I do think Akira still takes it, which means Morgan is gone, placing 7th. So now it's time for the finale, and 2 queens get to skip 1 round of lip syncing. It wasn't really fair, and I wish the season had 2 more episodes so we can have 4 queens in the finale, but it is what it is. Since Joey and Dawn won the 2 merge episodes, they will be automatically in the top 4. I don't know who would be picking their opponent, so I just decided to spin the wheel. Let's see. A'keria gets to pick her opponent, and I think she chooses Silky. Would she do it? I'm not sure, but I think she would, and I think Silky picks the song she originally lip-synced to against Dawn. She did do a really good job, but I feel like A'keria would be so determined to send Silky home, and I think she would be able to beat Silky. A'keria saved all the reveals for later, but I think she would do something here just to edge Silky out. A'keria moves on, and Silky is unfortunately eliminated. Listen, Silky is my second favorite drag queen ever, and I was rooting for her the most, but I think in this scenario A'keria would send her home. Crystal versus Jasmine was closer than I thought it would be, and I kinda agree with Crystal's original win. I don't know what song would they lip-sync to here, but I still think Crystal would be able to win it. That means Jasmine goes home, and we have the top 4, so let's spin the wheel one more time. Dawn gets to choose, and most likely she chooses Joey. Dawn did pretty decently against Silky, and I do think she would put up a fight, but Joey wins and advances to the final lip sync. Between A'keria and Crystal, I do think it would be pretty close. But I have to be as unbiased as I can, and I think A'keria would win, which means Crystal goes home, and this time the lip sync for the crown is going to be between A'keria C. Davenport and Joey J. The winner of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 11 is Joey J. I'm sure the lip sync would be pretty even, but you can't say Joey J would never win against A'keria because she originally sent her home in the finale. It was great to see Joey's glow up, and I agree she kinda should have won the whole season. Congratulations to Joey J. But also congratulations to Crystal Method. I'm not trying to discredit her win in any way. I'll see you in the next video.